You have enough lighting? You're okay?
Yes, thank you. Hello, my friends. I hope everyone's holding up well. I thought I'd pop on and give a short or a small report on where we are. Where are we right now? Where are we right now? Well, I'm feeling a bit sorry for myself. I feel like I've been in isolation for about 5 years. And I'm really feeling the desire to come on and maybe talk a little bit about how some of the strategies I'm using, that I use to manage a life that is one where mobility has been constricted down quite specifically through my experience with losing mobility in my legs over a period of many years, starting so to tell this story, I want to be as truthful as I can, which means really attending to my emotions and my guidance system. So I'm going to go right up to the edge of discomfort to tell this story. Or when I get up to that edge, I'll step back and recognize the emotional pain, let's say, the emotional distress, or the emotion that lets me know when I'm out of alignment with my higher self. So we have this human body, which isn't real, apparently. That's news. And our minds, which are also not real. And many teachers out there teaching us about what's underneath and what is real, which is consciousness, the part of us that knows, that never leaves and stays the same. Consciousness that's paying attention all the time, whether we are our human bodies and our human mind has been aware or conscious or able to understand that or not. So in my particular case, I was unaware that my emotions were a guidance system that I could use as a way of calibrating in the direction that my higher self, which would be the part of me that is my spirit, my soul, and that knows who I am, where I've come from, and where I'm going. And the unconscious part of me, the part that forgot all of those things, that forgetting that happens at birth as we come through the birth canal of our mothers. And that this is a sort of ongoing awakening process. This awakening process has been going on for sort of Westerners, or for everyone on Earth really right now. It's going on at a really high speed now. And so what I'm trying to do, what am I doing? I'm looking for my pathway. I'm asking my inner being to really light up my pathway for me. And since this is like an intuitive practice, you have to let go and trust. And then you have to also really understand what fear is, which is false evidence appearing real. So when you feel that fear, that anguish, that pain, that sense of lack and aloneness, when you're at the edge of that, when you push right up against it, you can feel that as an emotion. It comes up as it comes up into your chest, and it affects the voice, and you might experience cry, like tears, water coming out of your eyes, nose. Anyway, so there's lots of teachers out there helping us to understand who we are and what we came here for. And that was to wake up to our higher selves, come out of the unconsciousness, which was the forgetting, which is why we are here on the physical plane, having a physical experience, in order to expand, let's say, expand, grow bigger. And we're always expanding. Sometimes we're contracting, and those contractions are, isn't that interesting? When you have a baby, you have contractions. It's that squeezing of the well, I'm not really sure. It's the squeezing out of the it's the experience contracting. I suppose that's difficult to understand. I don't really understand it. That's why I'm having a problem clarifying what I'm talking about. But there's a bigger picture, let's say, that if we can step back, and the technique that I'm using when I come up against that point of high pressure is to try to relax and let it move through me, and then fall back in my consciousness, like go inside and fall back and let the experience of that contraction release itself, let me go, let's say. So it's physical, it's taking the mind, which happens to us. Our minds just are busy chattering and working away at us all the time. I've had quite an abusive mind up until recently, until I became more conscious and started studying many of the um, teachers who are teaching us how to, like Eckhart Tolle, who talks about the power of now, being present. So feeling that presence, feeling for that presence, because everything has presence. Everything in your experience you've created, and because you're a creator, that's what we are as humans. We're creators. But and I've been an artist, and so I have been creating on the physical plane from an um, unconscious of my soul journey perspective, and a very like um, sort of eyes on the ground, um, consciousness through my sense of wanting to come to solve the problem of myself, solve the problem of, you know, opening a space for me, my kids. And that came out of the fear that of, things like the stories we've been told, like the story of global warming, and that, but it's not even that the fear that I was working with was a fear of my own death. So that's closer to the truth. I've been afraid I've been afraid of dying, and that comes out of the experience of this physical body, which um, the experience of losing conscious control over my torso and my legs and my feet, not being able to walk, not being able to consciously move my limbs, which was something I could do before, and not having an understanding of why that's happening. And so part of my healing journey is to try and become more conscious of that, and through meditations, the learnings, and the understandings, possibly move my consciousness, move into a parallel reality far that where I am walking. So that's really my person really wants that to happen, and is afraid that it won't happen, and gets stuck in those emotions on a regular basis. But because the emotional guidance systems right now is telling me that's out of alignment with what my soul and my spirit and my higher self knows is true, I can intuit, or perhaps massage that feeling into a knowing that yes, I will learn to walk again. And it's a matter of healing the core wounds that happened in this life, and potentially, possibly, likely in all the lives I've had before. Um, and so, but I don't really know what that is. I don't have a, so, so I can revisit some of that fear and undo it from this now moment through perhaps traveling back in time, remembering back in time moments through my imagination when I was really afraid and panicky and concerned about this loss of my human capacity to care for myself and look after myself, which is really quite a continues to be continues to be my journey. Be my ability to accept help and to move into a more full life, one that fulfills uh, the path that I selected, or one of the highest path that I could find myself on, get myself onto, and so that comes back around to working to be in the present moment and listening for the information that brings me to those synchronicities. So the synchronicities have been um, it's actually I can't really anticipate them until after I get the realization that I've been guided somewhere, that my higher self knows where things are. My higher self knows where everything is, but I don't. My person doesn't. My person only knows if something is out of reach. And there's a lot of things that are out of reach when you can't walk, stand up, pick things up, hang things on the wall, do kind of homemaking, the kind of homemaking that I would really like have to have done. And I'd like to have a lot more control over that instead of waiting for help or trying to manipulate someone into helping me to do the things I want, or just asking for help, or finding cooperative components, like people who want to help and who can do that without it being a thing. So finding a way to have an equal exchange of energy, which is the new which is the new way to do things, to really dig deep to find out what that is. And so instead of draining my energies away, um, allowing it to drain through fear or just a lot of leakage, which I think is a huge key to understand, that that's a huge key to solving, to healing, to gathering up that energy back into my body and giving me some something to be uh, really tuned into and excited about and joyful about and wanting to do. So this is the challenge right now. I hope everyone is um, really taking this quiet time here on Earth to um, do some higher self work, to get in touch with that part of them that knows who they are, and really listen in and tune in and recognize that you're the creator of your life, and that you're a very powerful being, and that power uh, resides in the heart and the breath is a way to anchor into that. So I just really wanted to come on and sort of express some of that, because it was getting bottled up. I kept bottling it up, and um, being afraid, again, that fear, that false evidence appearing real, afraid that if I talked about it, if I talked about the troubles or the problems, I would attract more of those troubles and problems to me. And But but the learning continues, and I'm learning from many, many, many different teachers, almost exclusively through YouTube and through people streaming their wisdom. Uh, and I guess the one thing that this is that ourselves, I think this is for me, this is an important one. Um, our cells respond to love, and they also respond to the opposite of love, fear. And when they're in fear, they're in stress, and they don't grow and reproduce. And when they're experiencing love, which is, I think, as a human, you have a will and you can, through attending to your guidance system, choose a better thought and being as attentive and awake to mind's your mind's I guess attacks, you could call them, telling you that it's all, you know, it's all taking that it's all bad, that you can't, there's nothing, there's nothing you can do about it. But a thought is just a thought, and there's nothing you can do with a thought because it's not real. Um, in the sense that if you don't pay attention to it, if you just let the chatter go on, but ignore it and sort of put your mind on your breathing or do like through meditation, these kinds of things can give you the tools to allow that chatter to go on, and then it will just fade away if you don't put your attention into it. So that's a major thing that I'm attending to and learning. And then recognizing that I'm the creator of my reality and that everything in my reality is what I've created. And what I've created is I've got quite a big mess. It feels like a big mess to me. Um, so to love that mess is part of the challenge, because I just wanted to I want to clean it up, but find I can't seem to do it. And so this is the fear. The fear is if I talk about that and I say I can't do it, then that's what I will manifest. So what I what I've learned is that what's here is a manifestation. The physical manifestations, that's the past. And so you can't. And if you put your energy on that, you just create that. You keep recreating that, keep manifesting it, and it sort of holds it in place. But if you can, I can find a way to sort of look past that, or so acknowledge that presence and thank it and love it, and then step back, fall back into presence, and look behind the presence at the awareness of the presence. So that part of me that's been with me my whole life, that knows everything about me and everything I've ever thought and everything I've ever done and all that I've desired, and knows where all and has gone running ahead, you know, paving a path to all of those things that I've wanted, all of those things that I've desired. Um, the following the intuition, following that little whisper of propulsion, that little whisper of, it's not even it's almost, it's so unconscious that you just you just let go, and you surrender, and you trust, and you move about until you begin to recognize what it is that, what these signals are. And you can start to more, I don't know, I'm not sure. I'm still at the stage of not, of just trying to be like, okay, what is my, this is what it is. What is your highest desire from this now moment to this now moment to this now moment to this now moment? And you get yourself, so if you'd been, so I'd been going into a negative direction through my emotions, feeling bad, giving that more energy, feeling worse, giving that more energy, feeling worse. And so I was moving in a direction, right? Because once you have momentum, it keeps going and going. But I've moved back, 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 back. And now I know, and I have some tools for moving towards joy and happiness. And I know that if I can move into that joy and happiness, I have a knowing that joy and happiness will heal this human body if that is the path that my higher self, that original template blueprint of what I came here to do, will begin to open and reveal itself. And then my my little human self, that, anyway, it's really cool. It's really cool to sort of have some sense, and I know I'm like intellectualizing this, and it's an inner knowing. You can't really, like, words, as Abraham Hicks says, words don't teach. You can only know it when you feel it and it happens, and recognize it. And as Jim Carrey says, it feels amazing when you get there, and then you'll spend all the rest of your time trying to get back. You'll slip in and out of that. And to know, as Abraham Hicks teaches, that when you slip out of it, that's that's a that's a moment of growth as well. So to love that, to know it and to love it, and to say, wow, look at me creating more, even though you have in your vortex what Abraham Hicks calls your vortex, an abundance that you cannot imagine, but it's there. And if you can get into that happiness and joy, and you can follow it, the breadcrumbs of it, you will get to find the path to some of that stuff that you've been working on in your vortex. And I hope you guys can all do that over these next coming months, and know that you are loved beyond measure by your higher self. You are abundant, you are creators, and we are all one. We are raising the consciousness of the earth right now. Humans are, the human consciousness on the planet has been increasing, and this moment right now, from a wider, broader perspective, is a kind of a falling away of old structures. And as those fall away, new ones, it's opening up space for the new to come in. And that new is what we humans as creators are building through our connection to our source, through our our conscious creation and are activating it's in our DNA, where our DNA is changing. It's activating the junk, what they call a junk DNA is um, a multidimensional uh, equipment. And apparently some of that stuff that's coming online now. And that's what we have to work with. That's the scrumptiousness of what's going on right now. So if we can just hold on to the knowing, surrender into the truth of who we are, and let our higher selves take the wheel and and guide us a little bit towards that abundance and that growth. And so I think I'm going to end it now. And I thank you for being here and listening to me. I'm so grateful and I'm so happy that I've managed my awakening. It 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 did not look good for the first 55 years. Um, there was no It took quite a bit for me to um, yeah, it took a lot of suffering, let's say a lot of suffering. And now I have to forgive myself for I'm forgiving myself for that. Or I'm working on that. So that's part of the part of the wisdom that I'm developing. Anyway, blessings to you all and good night.